Thanks so much. And let's call this meeting to order. We will check roll and see if we have a quorum or not. But I want you to know a little bit about what I'm going to do with the agenda, and I'm going to follow what I sent to you. So we'll have our secretary do her work and our treasurer's report, and then I'd like our vice presidents to go in this order. We're going in alphabetical order today. Julie, and then Paula, and then Sandra. Then we'll have the other board members, and in alphabetical order, we will have Chris and Debbie Noble. We will have Catherine and Sylvia. And if you already know that I've left somebody off the list, be sure to tell me. Then,
I didn't hear my name.
Who? Anil?
I didn't hear my name.
Oh, you were in the first group. Secretary,
okay.
We start with secretary treasurer.
Okay.
Yeah, you're up there. Do you want to be down at the committee chairs or
it matters
board
not
members
to me.
too?
Matters. Nope, I'm fine.
All right, we'll leave. We're going to give you priority booking, and you're the only one who has 10 minutes to talk. Everybody else is scheduled for 5.
Hopefully,
and then
I won't
we have
take that long.
chairs. We have Alice. That must be good. I mean, just not on my account, but on time budgeting. So we have Alice, and then Lois, Raul, Sally, and Sue is going to be absent, so she really will not be on. Are there? Okay, and if you will check roll, please. Is our secretary here?
I don't see her.
Okay, well, let's see who is here. Julie? No, Julie.
Julie's here. She's muted.
I just had to unmute.
Okay, thank you. And Paula is here.
Yep, I'm here.
And Sandra is here. Chris is absent. Debbie Noble.
Don't see her.
Absent. Catherine's here. And my lighting went dim here, sorry. And Sylvia Whitworth is here.
Here.
All right, and who, let's see, Alice, is Alice here? Okay,
There's Liz. Hi, Liz.
Oh, thank you. Peggy Duran, absent.
And I'm here. I don't know if you saw me waving my hand or not.
No, I didn't. Thanks, Alice.
Yes, ma'am.
What did we say about Lois? Is she here?
Lois is here. And that was
Thank
Liz
you.
on the phone. I've got to leave just a second here and
okay.
Go to.
So what about Raul and Sally? And that'll be everybody on this list. Do we have Raul?
Haven't seen him.
And do we have Sally?
Yes.
No. Oh, Sally is here. Great. Okay, and do we have anyone else here whose name I didn't call? Okay, I guess not. So we are underway. And can we have our secretary do her work for us?
If that Liz, she's got. I just now sent her the new.
Okay, let's back up then, and we'll go right to our treasurer. So Anel, if you'll go on.
Okay. Hopefully everybody got the financial statement that I sent out yesterday or Tuesday. there are no real surprises there. Liz brought up something on the, not Liz, Lois, on the new, oh, come on. Get off shared screen here. I can't do that. Stop share. Okay. On the, this last one, the financial report for the year 2020, 2021, asking if I didn't feel like we should probably pull out the centennial funds with a box at the bottom like we did on the upcoming budget. And I think that's a good idea. And that kind of prompted me to remember something I've thought about all year. And then the donations kind of quit coming in and I forgot about it. But we also have several people who have made $5 member donations. And I think I would like to pull that out so that we know at any particular time, and it's there as a monthly reminder that if someone knows of someone that we would like to pay for their membership as a student, or there she is, or even an adult. Liz Riggle sent $60 in the her last, she renewed her membership and also included $60. I'm talking about you, Liz. Talking, and then sent an additional $60 towards the membership fund. So I would like to pull that membership fund out and keep it running on the bottom of the financial statement along with the Centennial Fund. Does that sound reasonable to everybody? Or does anybody have a comment?
Is there anyone who thinks it's unreasonable? Let's ask that. We'll have
Okay.
fewer responses maybe. Okay, so we assume that is acceptable.
All right.
Recommended. Good.
I have a question. It's acceptable to me, but where is it on the financial statement now?
It's not. It's in those
It's just in
donations. Those donations are under community support and contributions right now. So what I would do is pull those out. I mean, they would remain in community support and contributions. I would just like to put a box at the bottom that says, as of, you know, the end of April, we have $30 in there. And then at the end of May, we're going to have 90 because of Liz Riggle's generous donation. And so that would run along the bottom, as well as a box with the Centennial Club information that shows a running balance and anything new that's been contributed or distributed out of that account. So just be looking for those. I'm going to send a revised report for the end of this month and also for the year-end report. Just so we have that information to end the year on. And I think that's all I have.
Any questions for Neil? Yes, go ahead, Lois.
A quick question. Is that different? Like if I renew my membership and I've been sending in like $100, where does that difference go to? Where do you allocate that?
The sustainer.
Yeah, sustaining
membership. There is your $60 goes under individual member dues.
Yeah.
And then there's a separate line that says sustainers gifts. And the additional $40 goes in there.
What have we been using that for?
To my knowledge, I don't know what that's used for. I guess I should, but somebody? It's just a league donation.
It's used to pay for voter guides.
Okay, there you go.
Thank you.
Then, okay.
Thanks.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions for Anel?
Yes, I have a question. If we do, when we renew our membership, if we do add extra money in there, are we supposed to identify where we want that money to go, or will it automatically go into what you just told Lois?
No, please identify whether you would like that to be just a donation to the league itself, or if you would like it to go into the membership fund or into the Centennial Fund or wherever.
Is there a place on the, I don't remember, but is there a place for us to do a check mark, or do we have to maybe send you some type of an email or something to let you know what we want it done with that?
And are you doing by PayPal or by check? There's not anything on the PayPal. Debbie Noble is in the process of setting up the payment portal that's going to come with Club Express. And so I will make a note, and we will make sure that those options are more clearly defined than was available in PayPal.
There is a check mark. There is a check mark box on the application form and the brochure, but not PayPal.
Yeah.
Okay, but what does the check mark? What is the check mark identified as, Sandra?
You can check sustaining member. You can check primary member. You can check household member, and you can check student member.
But if she wants to donate extra when she pays
Well,
that.
then you have to write a note.
Yeah, if you write a note, if you pay by check and you send us the form, which a lot of renewing members don't, and I'm hoping Club Express will help that as well, because when renewing members, don't change new information or whatever, they just send us a check because they feel like we've already got all their info. I know that makes it hard on Sandra.
Well, I'll just go ahead and send it in by snail mail, and then I'll send you a note.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah,
Any other questions?
Alice was one of our first last year.
It's wonderful. Okay. Now, is Liz back with us and ready to go?
Yes, I apologize. One favor that I could ask, and I know, am I muted?
Nope, you're on.
You're talking.
Can y'all hear me?
We hear you.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
One favor I do have to ask, and Chris Garcia was also trying to get on, is when Anel sends out the emails giving us the address for the Zoom, the invite for the Zoom, that we not respond or link onto that to do additional emails, because what happened was it got buried and neither one of us could find it. And that was what was, because I tried for 15 minutes before I reached out to Anel going, help, help, help. So that's just a suggestion. Yes, I'm here. Do you want to know about the minutes? I've got the minutes that Paula graciously took for April 1st of the executive meeting. And then I have the minutes from the emergency board meeting we had on the 15th of April. So what should we do, Ann?
Well, let's do the minutes that Paula took for you. And were there any corrections or additions? She gave you an extra on and encouragement to look there. Were there any additions or corrections? All right, is there a motion? Pardon?
All right. Never mind. Sorry.
That's okay. So is there a motion to accept the minutes as submitted? Could we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
And a second?
Who made the motion?
Alice
Was it
Hawkins.
Alice? Okay, Alice. Okay. And the second?
Sylvia.
Sylvia. Okay.
Those in favor, aye.
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 No opposed, nay. Any nays? No nays. They stand. All right, and now let's look at those minutes from the special meeting. Were there additions or corrections there? Hearing none, is there a motion to accept?
I'll make a motion. Oh. Go ahead. Sandra first.
So there was Sandra moving.
Second.
There you go. Sandra moved,
Anel
Anel seconded.
Okay, thank you.
Those in favor, aye.
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 Opposed, nay. There's a 1 nay. What is the correction we need?
I didn't hear a nay.
They are accepted then.
Yeah, I think it might have
thought I
just been,
heard it.
it may have just been an echo.
Could have been a cough. Okay, there. Now we are on to our vice presidents. Julie, you're on first, followed by Paula.
All right. I'm just going to touch on some things. We had our National Day of Action and with the postcard party. 33 people signed in. There might have been more that didn't sign in, but we're going to count the ones that signed in. Of those 33, there were 23 that want to be involved with our priority issues of voting rights and redistricting. And 20 of the 33 want to participate in the May 8th second Saturdays. So those numbers are good. They show interest also in our redistricting and voters' rights issues. The next day, I took 155 postcards to the post office. We sent 44 to Representative Hunter, 32 to Judge Canales, 31 to Mayor Guajardo, 23 to Representative Herrero, 24 to Senator Hinojosa, and 1 to Representative Lozano. The next step in this campaign is that we wanted to continue sending postcards, and some people have. So Representative Hunter's probably got about 50 by now. We would like to outreach to members that couldn't come and ask them to send postcards, and we can deliver them with the postcards with stamps and an info sheet if they need it. And we're hoping we could do an outreach with an email blast. We also contacted Representative Hunter's Chief of Staff, Angie Flores, in regards to a virtual meeting about redistricting, if one can be arranged, and we would invite the membership to that if it happens. Catherine Oler would ask prepared questions. I thought that having relationships with the state and National League was another positive outcome from the event, and National sent us stickers, posters, and buttons, and we were on both their social media and made new contacts. The buttons came late, but this is going to go on till November. So we have these in store for when we do something else. And that is about the postcard party. Annual meeting requirements. We were in compliance with our bylaws and sent out the program plan and recommendations for next year to our members in a timely manner. They will be published in the workbook that Chris is diligently working on and discussed at the meeting. In April, the board adopted and thereafter published a position statement on lead in our drinking water. The summaries of the position statements are published in the workbook. So the lead study committee has prepared a summary and turned it into Chris Garcia for publication in the workbook and asked it to be placed under a public health category. And Sally can talk more to that. Then we have this going on, and it's been great news, and it has to do with our lead study. We got the citizen science project with water utilities. The pilot project is in effect. We've had good feedback from the members and staff members, and city staff, but we still need more members to participate. So far, 16 people have participated. In order for more members to participate, I've been working with city staff, and we're going to extend the project to the end of this month so that we can put out a call to action at the annual meeting and in the voter. It was supposed to end on May 15th. So my call to action to you all today is to visit the test website and go through ordering the kit if you haven't. You don't have to have your water tested if you don't want to. They just want to see how friendly and easy the website is to navigate. But you can get your water tested if you need to, and then try to get another member to do it. Let's try to get them at least 30 people. They're dependent on us. And this is very, very important. I don't know how to stress it any more than that. If we're gonna have a good relationship with the city, we need them to want one with us. And let's show them how effective we can be.
Julie, if you will draft an email, a reminder email with the link to the website, then I'll email blast it out to our members again, because that's what they need. They need a reminder.
Mhm.
Okay, can you do that?
Mhm.
Okay.
Thank
Julie,
you.
I have one more question. If
Yes.
what about recruiting neighbors to participate? Or are you really trying to restrict it to the members?
I'm trying to restrict it to the members, just because they specifically asked to work with us, but I don't mind, asking. I also just, when you flex a muscle, you need to show you have muscle. So,
Right, I
But-
understand. But our members kind of extend into their neighborhoods, and if we're in the neighborhood that's in question, it might be helpful to have a few more to pad. I don't want to say to pad the result, but that's basically it.
How do they
I mean,
know
Check in
that
with them.
how do they know that it's a league member?
well,
Julie will
it's
have to answer
contained
that.
within, it's contained within us. It's
Oh,
just,
okay, I
it's
see.
trust.
Okay, so we're set,
Okay.
Julie?
One more thing, and that's just on speakers. We have our TAMA political science professor lined up, Dr. Rickoff. She's a keynote speaker for the annual meeting. Her notable bio is going to be published in the workbook, and y'all have gotten a copy of that. Her talk is titled "A Needle in a Haystack: Finding Facts in Today's Media Landscape." And she says she's looking forward to it. And we're not scheduling future speakers until after the June retreat. So that's all I have for you.
Julie, would you like to say a couple words about preparing for the guest speaker's presentation? She's going to do a PowerPoint, is that right? As well as be a live speaker?
Yes, she's gonna do it virtually, but I think she's got a PowerPoint or something to share. And so I was gonna reach out to Anel to work with her on that. Anel.
It's
I thought
fine.
it would help our members to know, that it's a two-part program, so they could be prepared for that. Go ahead, Anel. What were you going to say?
I was just going to tell Julie, she probably knows about screen sharing and PowerPoint, so she should be able to just take care of that and go on her own. I mean, it's good to know that she's going to do it, but she doesn't need my cooperation.
Touch base with her. I think they're
Okay.
winding up their semester right now, and I'll have another discussion with her, but
Okay.
we're pretty set to go.
If she needs anything, just tell her to call me or
Yeah.
text or email.
All right,
Thank you, Anel, for being ready. Julie, anything else for us today?
No.
I have a question.
All right.
Julie, thanks for that information. I was reading through the emails about the water testing, and I saw where it's really kind of, the city is playing more or less a numbers game, because if it's less than 15 parts per billion, they are telling us that there's no contamination, and I think I read that correctly. If not, I stand corrected. But are we addressing that? Because if we're doing these tests, and I have mine, I haven't finished it up because every time I remember, it's past. It's it's not the 6-hour limit, and so but I do plan on trying to get it done. But if they're telling us that we don't have a lead problem because it's not showing that 15 parts per billion, but there is lead in the water, we need to resolve that in some way. I know that people dress things up to appear or to make it seem like what they want us to know or want us to believe. But if those numbers are not being registered and people are being falsely led to believe that there is no lead contamination, then we haven't done ourselves any good by continuing. So I guess my question is there any pathway for us to insist on letting people know that there is that problem of lead in the water? How are we going to resolve this?
Mhm. Well, there is a pathway, and you're really good at it, and we all have to be, and it's called advocacy. We've got a position statement which lets us advocate based on our position. So we've already established that we think it should be 5 parts per billion. And so we should talk to the powers that be, you know, and advocate that they lower it. We can. I believe that this is something that we discuss at the June retreat also, but this is a pilot test. This is a pilot test, and so nothing's in the it's in the pipeline, so to speak. So the way, and you know this too, I'm sure we all do, but they're gonna so-called negotiate with us or listen to us based on how we act during this pilot test. So we that's why I want the numbers to go up so they take us seriously. The other thing, if Sally can hear and can speak to it, we've had conversations with them and been pointing out our point of view. So they're aware of it, you know, and how we resolve it is come up with a plan and a program, and we all do that together, and then we advocate together. That's what I think. I don't know if that's.
Well, I think we should know what our numbers are, so that when we start talking or questioning what's happening, that we will actually know what we are, you know, lobbying for or what we want to show. Because if they keep saying nothing to report and we don't know our numbers, then we are still kind of in the dark on this whole thing. And if somebody questions outside of what we're doing, they're going to say, well, we gave them their numbers, or we tested and it was below, you know, it didn't register.
Right.
Then that weakens our position. That's the way I see it. Maybe
no, I think you're right.
Right.
Before you have to ask then. You know, they really are taking feedback, and that I do believe that when they say the good, the bad, and the ugly, that's what they want. So when people get their numbers back, you need to write back to them and say, I need my numbers for these reasons, and say exactly what you did. That's what they're trying to establish. And you're right, they will glide right over it if we don't say anything. I would too. And they will say, I gave you a chance to say something and no one did. And so
I just
need to make a fuss. I'm sorry,
ahead,
Sandra. Go ahead, Sandra.
I just wanted to say that the powers that be are not invisible, unknown. It's TCEQ and the EPA, and those are pretty big entities for our little league to take on. If the state wants to join us, and the city publishes, I mean, by law, they have to publish their results. I think it's biannual. I don't think it's annually. So that's what we're told. I mean, you're exactly on the right track, but just let it be known that just us going to the Caller Times or us being on Larry Jones is not going to make any difference to TCEQ or the EPA.
Excuse me. Right now, TCEQ is the agent of EPA, and EPA has been put on tenterhooks now. The amendments to the lead and copper rule have been put in limbo because they were so inadequate, and it might be another year, 18 months before the Biden administration has some new proposed adjustments to the lead and copper rule. But in the meantime, I'd like to say this, that I have been much heartened by city staff's response to the feedback that we have given them so far. First, they started out, they were not going to test participants who had water softeners, which is a big issue because water softeners increase the risk of lead release. So it's really important. If you've got a water softener, you probably really want to know whether or not that unit's impacting your tap water. And they were very responsive. They almost immediately said, well, we'll change it.
just let us know whether or not you have a water softener for the record. Another thing too is that we were heartened when we learned that the lab that they are using, at least from what they tell us, has a detection level or something called a reporting level at 1 part per billion. Now, if you recall from what we learned in the study, 1 part per billion is the American Academy of Pediatrics recommendation for the limit in lead for school water fountains. The American Academy of Pediatrics doctors don't want to see children exposed to more than 1 part per billion. And we know that the bottled water, the medical standard for bottled water is 5. So and I don't know whether they agreed with Julie in the beginning that they would tell Julie what all of the various readings were. We can negotiate that out with them. We can ask them to tell us, and I think that they will. They may say, well, we're not going to provide you the addresses, but we can get the addresses from our own folks. And if everybody responds to us, Julie can get those readings directly. But I think the city will probably cooperate. They can at least give us a list of what the test results were for the various locations. And then that will give us an idea of at least how our people or how our water taps measured up. The main concern, and Linda Snyder was really smart in bringing this up. She says, what if, and I'm assuming that most of us are fairly affluent, so the homes we live in are at least risk. There are people out there in the Robstown area that are served by city water. There are others in the 78415, which is #1 for lead poisoned children. We don't know how many of our people live in those districts. We assume that not many of them, and they're probably not the ones that are part of this pilot program right now. So we have some more work to do in trying to finesse the city into putting more of its test resources into those areas where lead poisoned children really are. But we talk to them about this. They're coming around. They're being cooperative, and it seems like they really want to be a part of the program. Now, we're right too, is that they have a natural inclination, as Alice said, to play the numbers game. So what we've got to do is assess all the information that we get back from the city, press them for a little bit more, and then press them to take the same program into those areas that are most likely to harbor lead poisoned children, which will be the older parts of town.
Sally, I have a quick question. This is Liz Riggle. I was one of the ones who got my water tested, and it came back 0.1 per billion. Does that mean that I could actually be 14.5 per billion because I fell under the 15?
As I recall,
am I not being heard?
As I recall, your reading came back at less than 1 part per billion. And because the reporting level was set at 1 part per billion, technically and legally they could say, well, the lead was you had non-detectable lead at your tap because it was under 1 part per billion.
Right.
That's correct. And that's what Alice was concerned about too. Well, if there's still some more there, but they're not telling us what it is, well, they can't. And the reason they can't tell you is that the lab cannot detect anything, at least the lab that they employed, cannot detect anything that's less than 1 part per billion. Now that's really pretty good detection, but what we object to, and we hope that they will correct, is don't tell people that lead is undetectable, because what it sounds like is that lead at the point at however it may appear at your tap is undetectable. Well, that's not, in lay language, when you say non-detectable, it means 0. That's what we think of it as lay people. So we need to get them to improve their nomenclature and their terminology so that perhaps they don't use those words or that description, lead was undetectable, or give you and I think that they're working on that now.
Okay, it's not a limit of the laboratory. It's a limit of the method that the laboratory uses. And I doubt there's any method that can go lower than 1/10 of a part per billion.
Yeah, I agree. It sounds like really what they're saying is that that's minimal.
Right.
I mean, so basically, it's basically saying you don't have to worry. I mean, if you're below 1.1 part per billion, Liz, I don't think you have anything to worry about at all.
I think you're in good shape.
Yeah.
Thank you. I just heard that they're playing number games and they're going, if it's less than 15 parts per billion, then you're okay, because that's what we're following. And that to me is not okay. So that's what I was trying to, because mine was negative. None can be detected, but the Alice concerned me. So
It is a numbers
okay,
game.
I'm done.
It's
Thank
numbers
you.
game from the extent of spending for public relations purposes. It's a numbers game in that if it comes in under 1 part per billion, then they can advertise it or present it back as undetectable. Well, lead it under 1 point per billion can be detected. It just depends on how much money you want to spend to do it. And that's all right. I think that they're doing okay. But from the standpoint of public relations and spending numbers, it's a numbers game. And this sounds a little bit cavalier, but anybody who's been in the environmental testing game long enough knows that any test, any protocol can be designed for an investigation to give you the outcome that you want.
Hey, Sally, thank you. Everybody, thank you. Let's come back to Julie.
Well, I want to thank you all and also thank Sally for that closing remark, because it's really powerful, and that's why we have a position statement and why we advocate, and we become educated. And so I've even learned during this conversation some new things. So that's why we all and everyone works so hard to get this done, and we really are at a point where we're going to be able to use it and change things. We have to believe that change can happen. All right, so don't give up, and thank you all.
And there's lots more that could be said today, but we need to move on with our agenda. So if you have any further comments or questions, please do get in touch with Julie. She's taking care of the charge for us on this issue, and she's going to be continuing right on through installation of new people. She'll be right on task with you. She's working with Sally diligently, with all the people on the committee. So Julie, thank you, and everyone who's working with her, thank you on this issue. Now, Paula, we need to move to you.
All right, I will whip through my report here. I don't see Raul on the call, so I'll just go through what I have written down, and then if he pops on, we'll ask him for anything further. So for voter services, as an increasing number of us are getting fully vaccinated, our attention is turning to in-person voter registration drives. Raul alerted members to this fact that most of us will need to recertify as volunteer deputy registrars for Nueces County. In his email on April 13th, he reported that the office at the courthouse is under renovation, so they're on the 3rd floor, and I'm not sure if that's still current, but just be aware. You can also do the entire process by viewing PowerPoint slides, and then you take a check on learning test, or you can go online to the Texas Secretary of State website, view the slides, and take the test. And then you can print the test and take it to the Nueces County Courthouse for recertification. And Christy Stockman shared this information with Raul. He verified it with the voter registration office, and they're okay with it. So then he sent links to all the stuff. So if you haven't done that, you can check back to his April 13th email. And
Paula? Paula, it's
Yes.
Liz. Let me interrupt real quickly. I printed everything out, took the test at home, filled it all out, then took it down there. Make sure you take the test with you down there and all the information you pulled off the slides, because their answer sheet is incorrect that they have down there. And so several of my answers, the woman said, and they were very nice. She said, this doesn't match up. And I said, well, here's the answer right here. And she went, oh, you're right. So take everything with you, but I recommend take the test home, fill it all out, and take it with you. It took me less than 10 minutes. Piece of cake.
Good to know, Liz.
I'm done.
We'll have to add that. Or hopefully they will have changed it by, change their test by the time people go in. Okay, so an interesting alternative that I've been exploring as an alternative or an adjunct to in-person voter drives was presented in a webinar hosted by the nonprofit Vote Group, and it's on their YouTube channel titled Using Mapping to Reach High Potential Voters. Julie Oliver talked about registertovote.org. It's a nonpartisan tool which can be used to confirm, update, and register to vote people. Users can fill out and submit the required information online. They are then mailed their filled out voter application and an already stamped and addressed envelope. Then they sign and date the application, put it in the envelope, and mail it. And at the monthly League of Women Voters TX Voter Services meeting, a couple of members shared that their local leagues used R2V and that their county clerks liked it because the forms were much easier to read as they were computer generated. So I said I was following up, and I did follow up. Ida Miller from the Hayes County League sent me an email just after 4 o'clock today. She said that she heard that it worked efficiently until the last month of voter registration during the last presidential election, when there was a huge online request along with a slowdown in mail. Then there was concern that they might not meet deadlines. She said she found it efficient. She's aware of organizations that did online presentations to high schools and used Register to Vote and were satisfied with the platform. So that is what she said. And I also have an email out to the Dallas League. I believe they used it also, but I haven't heard back from them yet. Okay, and then Raul also noted that he's maintaining communication with the local high schools, but that in-person voter registration is probably still going to be doubtful for the spring. Other avenues he is pursuing include the Food Truck Festival, Farmers Market, and Juneteenth at Cole Park. So that's that.
Great. Questions for Paula? I want you all to be aware that Paula has been and meeting different people, all the other means that I can't name, but she is right there, and she is mentoring other members of our organization and taking them with her, getting them to sit in on some of these meetings and working with her on furthering information to people. So Paula, congratulations on a fabulous year, and keep right on going. We look forward to another 2 years of superb service to this organization. You were just right in there, and we love your enthusiasm and foresight and insight and hindsight all working together.
Thank you, Ann. On.
I have a
On
question.
and on.
I have
You
a
bet.
question for Paula.
Okay.
Is there any advantage to using the Register to Vote website rather than using our own Secretary of State's website, which has the same capability and functionality?
The thing is that they print it out for the voter, put it in an envelope, send it to them with a stamped envelope. So all the person
without the stamp. Yeah.
So all the person has to do is sign it, date it, stick it in that envelope, stick it in the mailbox. So.
Right, under the new rules, our Secretary of State's office would probably not be allowed to send a stamp.
Yeah, and who knows, there might be a bill that comes out says Register to Vote is banned in Texas. Who knows? These are the days we live in. So
This is
we'll see.
okay. Okay. I was just curious. I think the stamp is the big difference.
Yes, stamped and printed out, so they don't even need, they don't
No,
need a printer.
I think our site will actually print it out and send it to you, but you have to sign it and then mail it in. Yeah. Okay.
All righty, on.
Thank you. Thank you. And now, Sandra.
We currently have 109 active members, and people are starting to renew. I spent 3 hours yesterday with Sylvia Campos, and she brought her laptop, and I have my laptop, and we went through the roster. And we didn't get all the way through. We got to the point where she can enter and manipulate people within the roster, and then she's coming back Saturday morning, and we're going to finish up to show her. We got as far as being able to convert the roster to an Excel file, and then once you're at that point, it goes pretty quickly as far as sending out emails and being able to print up rosters for the board. So we'll finish up doing that on Saturday. But Debbie, I got your email, and I know you need some help on membership, but I could not open anything that was on that list.
That's so weird. I'll look into that. I'm in Florida right now, and I don't have my laptop with me. So when I get back to Corpus next week,
okay, but I'm more than willing to help. I know you. And I don't know if it's because I haven't tried it on my laptop, on which I have like whatever the latest Windows is. And the one I have been using is still Windows 7. So Windows 10, I guess, is the latest. And if you send it to me in Windows 10, maybe that. So I'll try it on my laptop. And see.
I don't know. I just forward whatever I got from the state league. I just forwarded on. So I don't know where it works or what it works. You should be able to just click on the things and see anything.
It looks like you can, but then nothing opens.
But you can always just cut and paste it and put it in your browser and then make it go that way. You know what I mean?
Okay, I'll try. But anyway, I'm not ignoring you. I'm very.
No.
Okay.
I know. I got behind doing some other things, and then I had to leave for a little while. But I'll be back next week.
Oh, it's Mother's Day. Good for you. I know why you're in Florida. All right. Okay. Well, that's the end of my report.
Okay. And thank you so much. And special thanks to you for serving for an extra year and a half or two. And in the absence of the one who was elected, and for working ahead in helping our next nominated vice president for your position. Sandra, you're just a knockout. Your history and understanding of all the scientific things have been invaluable to everyone, and your investment in the community. So thank you. And as Paula says, on. We look forward
Thank you,
to
Ann.
continued work with you. All right, now we're moving to other board members. Did Chris join us? No, Chris? All right, Debbie Noble? You have
I'm here.
anything more to share?
No, other than I posted the pictures from our first in-person event at BUS, our postcard party. So those are on Facebook if anybody wants to see them. And if anybody wants the link to the Shutterfly account where they all are, just give me an email and I'll send it to you.
Great. And then on to Catherine.
Okay. I'm going to give you just a little bit additional stuff on Second Saturdays, our advocacy efforts. On the April 10th, which was the last one, we really focused on the local redistricting efforts here. We're doing a lot. We're interfacing with state and national, but we also need to make sure we're looking at what's happening locally. And so we're doing that. I want to start with Nueces County redistricting. what we've learned from that, you know, because it's just really a chain. You know, it comes from whenever we get the census data, the total package, that goes to the state. Then the state has to, you know, do its work. And then it comes down to the county, which is the next entity. And then it goes, you know, local, city, municipality. So what we looked into were those two, the county and the city. In terms of Nueces County redistricting, I spoke with Tyner Little, who is the Nueces County Commissioners Court manager. And he has done that role for a number of years. And he believes that Nueces County will probably hire a consultant or lawyer to work with them in developing their redistricting plan. The county, he did say the county is already, you know, has been receiving a lot of unsolicited overtures from firms and individuals interested in developing a redistricting plan for the county. But again, you know, before they can move forward, really, we have to get that data. Well, next down that chain is the city redistricting. And I am so pleased to say that Rebecca Huerta, who is our city secretary and an LWV-CC member, got in touch with us and on local redistricting. And she, again, you know, as Tyner does and Rebecca does, reminds us that the city can't do anything until the census data is in at the local municipality level. And she said in 2010, the redistricting process took 8 to 9 months to complete. So it's not, you know, it's going to happen when it happens and not before. She did say that the city typically does hire a consultant who develops a timeline for the process and also coordinates the public input process, which includes a public hearing or hearings. And so one of the things she did, an observation, she said, it's depending on when that census data is fully released that Nueces County will be hard pressed to complete their redistricting in time for the March 2022 primaries. And, you know, that's not hard to believe. According to the city charter, the city council cannot adopt a redistricting plan less than 90 days before the November general election. And that 90-day limit falls sometime in early August. So again, you know, it's happening slowly, and we probably aren't going to have that information in time. Any redistricting plan that adopted, of course, as we all know, could be contested in the courts. And so it could be a while before it's fully adopted. And we have to remember city elections in Nueces County here are nonpartisan. And so the district boundary lines that are drawn based on population, not party, those are where those boundary lines for voting for city elections are. And again, per the city charter and state law, the city is required to equalize, you know, the population within the 5 single-member districts to the extent that's possible. And state law also requires the city to use the county precincts in the November general election. Another important thing to remember, that trickle down when it happens. So their hands are really tied until Nueces County has completed its redistricting. So that, you know, that is something that, some of that we didn't know, some of it we could anticipate. So we're really excited about that. Coming up, we're going to probably recap and look at this coming on Saturday, day after tomorrow. We're going to be, I think, doing a little patting ourselves on the back for the day of action and the postcards. And again, thank you, Julie, for spearheading this and making it happen. And then the members of that committee or that group who turn up on second Saturdays for being there. You know, they showed up. They show up on second Saturday morning and they showed up down at Bus to do that event. And that's absolutely fantastic. We're thrilled, and we look forward to having others join in. I think one of the things that we also intend to discuss on Saturday is the session, the end of this month. The session is done. And, you know, we can certainly anticipate that there is going to be a special session. One of the things that we'll discuss is how we want to address this now. Do we continue with second Saturdays? Keeping posted on what's happening, what's going to happen, to kind of keep that energy that we have going. And so that's I think, going to be on our list of topics to discuss. Any questions for us about what's happening there on second Saturdays?
Catherine, this is Ann.
Yes.
I have a question. Todd Hunter, of course, is handling the redistricting for the state committee and so forth. And so he's looking at not having all of the ducks in a row, so to speak, until the fall, as I recall. But are you having any communication with him as well as the city and county folks?
We have, and I think, as Julie mentioned earlier, that we have had contact with Angela, right?
Yes, Angie.
And that to date, they have not been able to respond to that. You know, with these last few days of the session, I know that things are really, really busy. But we do anticipate, we do want to have, you know, particularly because of his position, to keep having conversations with him throughout this process, not just a one-time thing, but all along as this develops. And so that definitely is, you know, in terms of when you talk about keeping it local, you can't get much more local than that. So
so I guess my other question was, he had a big open hearing. Did anybody get to tune into that and hear it and have anything to report about that relative to us?
I was not able to participate in that. That was when I was out of town, and I couldn't make the connection.
Okay, so we don't know of anybody else on the committee. No one said anything. Okay, that was just my question. I wasn't able to get in on it either.
But I can ask on Saturday. We can ask to see.
Great. If you would do that, please. I know he's extraordinarily busy with so much right now, but it would be helpful to know if any of our members have been able to tune into what was provided for us, if we could have gotten in. Okay, that's great. Catherine, thank you so much for that great report and for all of your enthusiasm and leadership and intuitiveness and initiative taking and cooperation with all these other people that you're working with so well. Our league certainly thanks you for all of that, and we look forward to continuing to work with you and being as helpful as we can. Those of us who are stepping off, of course, off the board, but thank you so much for stepping up and assuming new leadership positions and being willing to do that. We'll see how the elections go, right? But we are looking forward to hearing from you on installation night.
Thank you, Ann.
Thank you so much. Now we're moving.
Can I ask one question? On the
Sure.
Todd Hunter meeting, do you think it would be online somewhere? The hearing or the meeting that you were just talking about?
I was just looking for that, and if I can't find it, I'll text him and see if it is somewhere.
Okay.
I'll let everyone know.
And while you're there, Miss Noble, did I cut you off so I didn't give you time to talk about anything else you wanted to talk about?
Oh, no, I'm good.
You're good. Okay, I don't want to miss that opportunity to hear from you. Okay, thanks so much. Now, let's move on to Sylvia. Sylvia Whitt.
Okay, I do finally have a report for my position as a couple of weeks ago. I took materials out to the A&M library, to their archives, materials from Rebecca Huerta, who was the secretary, Chris Garcia, who was the president, and Anel Neal, who was and still is the treasurer. Thank you, Anel. and they were glad to receive those boxes. Now, one other thing that is not my position as archivist, but I got this back in the mail today. This is one of the postcards at that wonderful party at the bus. My husband and I, between the two of us, we mailed 10 of these postcards. He did the addressing and I did the note writing. And so that the people would know that, you know, I was a voter and I was a member of the League of Women Voters, I put that on there. And I put my address so that they would know that I'm not from New York or somewhere. Yesterday, 3 of them came back to me because it had my address on it. And I took them to the post office and they said, oh, no problem, we'll send them back on again. And today another one came back because it had our address on it. And this one's for Barbara Canales. I will take that one to the post office tomorrow and they will send it on again. Has anyone else had that problem?
I put my return address on everything also, Sylvia, but I haven't gotten anything back in the mail yet.
Okay.
Oh, that's interesting. I haven't either, but what they say that you weren't supposed to put a return address on there?
No, the lady at the post office, you know, was very surprised. And she, oh, no, this should have gone to your congressman or whoever. And she said that
postcards are funny. I think postcards get done funny if they read the wrong address. Most postcards don't have return addresses on them necessarily, and I think that it confuses the people when you do that.
Yeah.
I got one back, and I even, when I was putting, you know, addressing, I put to and from, hoping that my return address wouldn't get confused.
It says to.
Well, there's a lesson learned. We learned something else.
Right. Anyway, take it back to the post office, and I said I'd be glad to put another 36 cents on it, and they said no, that they'd send it back through.
Okay.
That's great. Wow. Sylvia,
thank you
so much for taking time to report that. And look at all these other people who are affected by it, and people who may be doing this another time will have a head start on getting it through and know to go back. And if it comes back to them, they can, you know, send it through again. So that's great. Wonderful report. And thank you for getting all the things out to the archives and the library. And have you felt like you were keeping a scrapbook for our organization while you've been doing this archival work? No. Well, I found that in some of the materials I was looking for, and I thought, gosh, if we'd given Sylvia that directive, she would have had a whole different focus these 3 years she's been working with us. So I'll pass that on to Catherine and those who are elected to serve in the new year. Well, I'm assuming Catherine's going to be elected, of course, but I'm passing that on, asking the archivist to work as a scrapbook keeper as well as deliverer of materials could add a whole different sense of pizzazz to that position. And we love everything that Sylvia's done. She's been a yeoman, done yeoman's work, and worked so closely with Chris and Catherine already. And so she cannot be elected to another term. Your new board will be finding an archivist to serve. But Sylvia, we thank you so much for all your service, all your work. It's your attitude and always being there and being supportive and bringing new information has been an inspiration to everyone. So thank you again. Okay, now we're moving on to another group, and these are our chairs. And I didn't talk about Linda Snyder being here when I was trying to do a roll call, and I didn't talk about her being one of these chairs. So please add her to your list. We will hear from Alice, and then Linda, and then Lois before we go on. So thanks. Let's move on. Alice? Alice once? Alice twice?
Yes, I'm sorry. I have to try to grab that mouse and get to that mute button.
I understand.
I I don't have much to report other than I did put out an all call at the most recent NAACP meeting for members to come and join, letting them know that we do really need other people to come in. I think that Sylvia came in as a part of my beckoning for her and begging for help. So I will be having another meeting on tomorrow as a chairperson with the NAACP, education chairperson. And so I'm also going to put a call to them to see if we cannot do some serious recruiting from within that organization. I think that will be a big help for us to bring some diversity into the group and bring workers into the group. You know, typically the groups are always small and the workers are the workers. If they're not going to work, they're not going to work. And those that work typically wear a number of hats. And so I'm going to be working on that group. And then I'm also working with my sorority to try to get some of them to come on board and be of help. So that's what we're doing. I will be also paying for my membership for this upcoming year, but I also will be paying for my sister's membership. So we'll have her on board as well. And she's a worker bee. Part of her problem is she works too much, but that is basically what I have. And I'll be having a meeting tomorrow. And the next time we have a meeting, I'll probably be able to get you some results from that.
Right. And Alice, Sylvia, there's another Tryon name on our membership roll, I think. Is it her daughter who is joined?
I believe it may be her sister.
Her sister as well.
Her sister.
Oh, terrific.
Okay.
Well,
is it
great.
Priscilla? Was it Priscilla?
I think that was the name I saw.
Yes, that is her sister. So I guess they kind of work as a pair. You know, when you get one, you're gonna get the other one. So.
Well, I had not met her, but I'm grateful. I'm grateful that they're both responding to this. I'm grateful you're bringing your sister along. And, you know, when you have a party, you fill up the wagon as you can, right?
That's correct.
This is terrific. This is great. And we appreciate your work so much, working with the committee, bringing new awarenesses and to the members and helping us move forward in the community as a whole, being aware of more groups and finding new relationships. It makes a difference for every one of us. And thank you so much, and congratulations on your doctoral work and getting the school board business, because it's all related, all making a better community. Thank you so much.
Maybe one of these ladies would like to be the new archivist.
You know, that's possible, and we'll need, because Alice is on the board, we need a new chairman of the diversity committee as well. So I'm sure Catherine has that on her agenda to be looking for some of these folks to step up and step in. So we'll see how this new board tackles this. I guess retreat time is appointment time as well, or the start of it. So again, thanks, Alice, and thank you, Annelle. And we're moving on to Linda, and then Lois, and then Peggy Duran.
Hey, real quick, I just put in the chat box a link to what I think is the link to that redistricting meeting from the committee on May 1st. I'm not positive because I'm on my phone. It's hard to check, but I think that's the one.
Right. Great. Thank you so much. I think it should have been, it was an all-day meeting. Should be important. Pardon?
I saw
Sandra?
Debbie's chat, but I did not see a link.
Well, we'll get it.
Okay.
We can go. I'll see if I can find it while she's still on vacation, but if not, she'll bring us up to date when she gets back. We'll get it to us. Good. Thank you for asking. Okay, so Linda.
Okay, so real quickly, one of the things I wanted to mention, some things have already been reiterated by Sally and Julie. I'm not sure if Sally had anything additional to say, but what I wanted to add
shortly.
What I wanted to add was that I know we're all sort of loaded for bear and expecting difficulty getting everything we want done. But as was said, my take on what we're doing is we are the guinea pigs to see if the system itself of sending out the test kits, getting them tested, getting them back and reporting back is just the water department's first step. And after that is smooth, they're going to open it up to the public, or at least have us be able to educate people to ask for it. So we're waiting to see reports from them, which they've assured us. I don't know if they're going to do a cumulative report, but everybody has been assured that sends in their test kit that they will have that feedback on what their particular numbers are. So either we can make a point of collecting our own data from those who did it and get their numbers, and we can put the feet to the fire and make sure that they give us some kind of a cumulative report, which would then be just step one of getting what I hope will be for us a standing committee for public health, which we can then work collaboratively with the water utilities people and get this into possibly the school system and contact daycare and other things. There's much to do. So, we are not in any way saying this is it will not. I can assure you of one thing. We've gone too far to let this get literally pushed under a rug somewhere. It will not get, we can't respond until they've had a chance. We have to give them a chance to get their material, their data in before we start gunning for them. But we're not going to, we all have the same fear that Alice has mentioned. We all have had the same thought that, how will they manipulate the information? If you want to stay on a positive note, we'll say no. They're going to just be honest about it and say what they got so far may or may not show elevated lead levels. And that's where we start talking about, but what about the other areas that in the past we know had elevated lead levels? So I can see where we can start the conversation, regardless of where they lead us. I'm pretty positive we'll be able to turn it towards where it needs to be, which is addressing the elevated levels in the older pipes and older home sections of Nueces County. The other thing I wanted to mention is the position statement. Sally and several other people, we all, we contributed, but Sally did the lion's share, and also Judy made everybody did their part in trying to make this be a very concise statement. It's not too wordy, but still basically hit all the main points that we wanted addressed. So unless anyone sees anything that they feel like isn't clear or they're not, comfortable with, that is, that's it. That's the statement. Sally, do you want to add anything to that? You have to unmute.
Oh, thank you, Linda. Well, you're right. This week, 6 members of the committee, and that was all of us with the exception of 2, we really burnt the midnight oil in devising and refining a summary of the position statement for the annual 2021 workbook. And I'm going to read this because this is the statement that I had given Liz for the minutes. But our deadline for submitting a final work product to Chris Garcia is Friday, May the 7th. That's tomorrow, but we got it finished a little bit early. We began with 176 words and we managed to reduce it to 163. That editing effort, capturing the salient points of 4 years of work, was no small chore. This is an important rendition because it will appear not only in the current workbook, but among other summaries that will continue to be reproduced in future workbooks, likely becoming the most available report of the study to which the membership and the general public will have easy access. And real kudos to former President Judy Telge and the new nominating committee chair, Teresa Carrillo, for their extensive editing. The committee looks to Chris Garcia as editor of the workbook to exercise her technical expertise in font and type selection, to have the summary appear as a new public health section item, enlarging and enhancing our local league study and consensus record for prosperity. End of quote. I sent everyone a copy, all the board members and those in leadership, a copy of the summary of the position statement. I won't take up your, because I did that, I don't plan to take up your time in reading it, though I will if you want me to.
I think because of the time factor, we won't ask you to read it, but we'll give it our attention when we get it.
It went out to everybody earlier.
Great.
That's right. Thank you,
Good.
Sally. I also sent it out, so there's 2 copies out there for everyone.
Terrific.
Thank you.
All right. So.
Oh, excuse me. There's one more item. I apologize. Chris put out a tentative agenda for the annual meeting. And in that, on that agenda, she has a new item E, and that concerns the position statement. And I would simply like to add here for position, for the sake of notice and discussion, if you want to have any. I would like that particular item E, I would like the annual meeting agenda at item E to read as simply a short presentation of the summary, just the summary of the position statement, no detailed reiterations, and with a simple urging to the membership to join in participation of the city's lead test pilot program, with a remark on the progress that we've made with the city's water department. I think that's really important because Julie just talked about how we need, before the end of this month, before the end of May, we need about 15 more participants to make it really work well. And that is an opportunity at our annual meeting to put forth that urging. And that's simply a comment on my part, and I think that the committee would agree with me on that. Thank you. That's all.
Thanks, Sally. Appreciate that. Okay, so Peggy Duran, followed by Lois.
I don't have anything new to report. We have our slate up. We're ready for the annual meeting. The only thing I'd like to mention is that I have seen that several of the nonprofit groups have started introducing their board members by having just a monthly edition. I would like to suggest to the voter, wherein a photograph and a short bio and what brought you into the league for the new board members to be presented, whether it be one person or 2 people at a time. We can kind of let Chris decide that. But I just kind of wanted to get your opinion on that, and if everybody thinks that would be, kind of a nice thing to offer our membership so that they know. Anel gave me hers, and I'd like to start with her for this upcoming month.
I think that's a great idea. And I know I can speak for Chris as she would agree.
Great. Thanks, Sandra.
Well, Anne certainly agrees, Peggy. She tried to do that, and I've not been as successful as you were being in your presentation, but it really helps. So often it seems that the board and the committee chairs are doing all the work and all the activity, and our members don't get to know them and have not, particularly during this last year. So that is a great suggestion. I certainly support it. Take it forward.
Very good.
Flags flying, so to
Peggy,
speak. You bet.
Peggy, Catherine here. Just FYI, Teresa Carrillo did an interview with me in this last week, and that's to be published in the Voter. Just FYI.
Thank you. Thanks. Okay, good, Catherine. So we'll start off with that.
Excellent. Excellent. So glad to hear that. Okay. Anything else for Peggy Duran? We're going to, Peggy, I want you to know we are still scheduled to start the meeting on the 20th at 5:30. We're going to start right on time, and we're going to have 30 minutes to have announcements that deal with the election and do the election, introduce the candidates, do the election, and do the installation. And we have only 30 minutes to do that. And then, so Judge Banales will be with us and tuned in, ready to do that. So I want you to be aware there is a time constraint there. So we can't be as social. I'm not just saying you can't be a social. I'm saying I can't be a social either. But we need to plan for limited conversation, hitting the ground running, having a high level of energy taking us forward. Then we'll have our speaker and the questions and answers for her. Then we'll do the rest of the business on the agenda. But we're trying to get that first part done very quickly, efficiently, and with a lot of pizzazz for with our incoming board. So just so you're aware of that.
Yeah, I'd like to.
If you think I'm pressuring you. Yes.
No, in fact, I'd like to hope, I would hope that it would go faster than 30 minutes, frankly.
Yes, and that'll be all right if it does. It'll be all right if it does.
Anne and Peggy,
yes,
if you look at our bylaws under Article 8, Section 3, elections, it says that if the positions that are being filled, if there are no opponents for each of those positions, then you can vote to elect the full slate at one time, one motion.
Yes. I'm counting on that being in place too. We also are told that if nominations come from the floor, there has to be, approval of that individual.
Sure.
So, and
right.
While we've called for nominations, Peggy has been diligent with this, and I have, for us, all I could do to get those nominations in earlier. So we do not expect any other further nominations. And so I'm counting on that happening, Catherine, and thank you for bringing it up and alerting everybody to that again.
We'll try and
right,
do it that way.
Right, Peggy?
Yes.
Okay, doke. So that's very important, and thank you both so much. And Peggy, a special thanks for doing this job for 2 years in a row. Cherry, you've had some great people to work with, certainly, and you've had great responses and people willing to serve a second term and do different terms in different offices and found newcomers, and you've just done yeoman's work. We appreciate you so much. Thank you. Okay, following Peggy Duran, then we had Raul. Oh, Lois is out. Did I skip Lois?
Yes, but
Peggy?
Yes, you did. I'm here now, so I'll go ahead.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you, Lois.
The Centennial Group, I did send all this information to the board in an email dated April 20th, and I hope that you all had a chance to review it. A lot of the committee members are here with us. Basically, the partner committee, which consists of AAUW, the League, Delta Sigma Theta, and the YWCA, has voted that they would like to move our partner event to March to celebrate the March 13th March on Washington that Sandra started out the entire celebration with last year. And so if this board, unless there's any objections from the board, we're going to go ahead and join with that group, and we'll be partnering and working on an event for March of 2022, a community-wide event, probably bring more people into it, other organizations. But that allows the league then to take back August 26th as our special day. And that's our Women's Equality Day. And we usually do a fundraiser on that day. And we've really missed having the fundraiser. So for the league, that's our opportunity now to take the fundraiser back. So if there are any questions or objections, I would love to hear them right now. Great. Okay, then I'm going to take this as board approval. And I'd like to invite—
Maybe we better, Lois, let me ask for hands up in support of your proposal.
Okay.
All right. So Lois's proposal is that we take the August meeting back as our fundraiser, chief fundraising, is that right?
Yes.
You want to word it differently? Chief fundraising activity for the year and celebration of the league's work, and move the collaborative efforts to March and just march on March, and celebrating all the women's rights with the other groups. All right, is there a second? Oh,
I'll second.
Thank you. And so it's been moved and seconded that we do that. Any discussion? Those in favor, aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Lois, you're in business, continuing to head this marvelous activity.
One more thing. We're going to
All
have
right.
our first meeting, and we're going to be meeting on the first and third Tuesdays at 4 o'clock to plan this league event. So anybody from the league who would like to be involved in a fundraising effort, and we should have fun doing it, we're going to do the first Zoom meeting, thanks to Anel, at 4 o'clock, May 18th. Now I'm done.
Okay,
And
this is Liz Rickle.
What was that?
I just want to emphasize
This is
we
Liz
really
Rickle.
need help from board members and from the general membership. So we're going to push it at the annual meeting.
All right. Now, Liz, you had a question or
Can y'all-
comment?
Yes, I'm sorry, I'm no longer visible. I don't know what happened. Okay, all of that went really
Yes, you are.
fast, Lois, and I found the email that you sent and I was looking at it, but what passed? I'm sorry, I don't understand what passed. What did we do? We proposed the August event. We'll take it back and become a fundraising event?
Right,
Is
and
that
the
what we
league,
decided?
yeah, and the league will continue,
Okay.
in addition to that, the league will continue working with the other partners for a March 2022 event.
Okay, and who seconded it?
I did. Anel.
Now, okay, thank you. If I have any other questions, y'all can correct the minutes then. Okay,
You
thank
bet.
you. Thank you.
Liz, contact Lois. I was paraphrasing
I will,
her, and
I will.
the wording you all have right there is much better than what I gave you. So that's good. Okay. So,
I got it. Thank you.
okay. Now, did Raul come in? No, Raul.
Can I take a
And-
minute of Raul's time?
All right.
Anel? I had one more thing. I put it in chat so that if anybody saw it, it wouldn't take long to explain. But I can, there's a discount for, and I don't know what it is off the top of my head, for both Rev and for Zoom if I pay the year in advance. And I wanted to see if anyone on the board had an objection. Yeah, I can see we're having both available for upcoming meetings. Even when we go back to meeting in person, I think there may be quite a few people who aren't quite ready for that yet, and having the Zoom version of this available would be. So if it's okay with everybody, I would like to go ahead and register each Rev and Zoom for a year. Saves us not a whole lot of money, but it does save some money. It's usually about a couple of months worth of payments.
Is there a motion to support what's been presented? Or is there a second? We'll take that as a motion.
I second.
Sylvia seconds. All right,
Catherine,
it's
yeah.
been moved and seconded that we support both and pay a year's membership. Those in
Awesome.
favor, aye.
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 I heard only two voices.
I think a lot of people are muted.
Aye, it's Liz, aye.
All right, Liz, please do a roll call vote.
I can't see y'all, so I really can't, I can't,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
It's-
That's all right.
It's all,
So, Liz,
it's a mess.
yes or no for yourself? Yes or no?
Yes, we're Liz, yes.
Treasurer,
Yes.
yes. Julie,
Yes.
Paula,
Yes.
Sandra,
Yes.
Chris, did Chris come in?
Mm-mm.
No. Debbie, Noble?
Debbie left.
We had to leave.
All right. Catherine
Yes.
and Sylvia was a yes,
Yes.
and Ann is a yes. So the motion carries and you're in business.
Awesome. Thank you.
Great. And we had Sally still on the list here, but Sally's spoken again. Sally, do you have anything else you needed to add to our program today? Well, then let me
good,
just,
thank you.
Pardon?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, so let's, let me just say thank you to everyone for an extraordinary year, high energy, highly productive, highly communicative with our community and our state. We have gotten all kinds of compliments from our state people, thanking us for the work of our members, for the movement and for the activity in our locality. I can't say enough to you about your mentoring of new people coming in. If we're going to have history continuing to be built, we need to make sure we're including all of these new people and mentoring individuals as we can over the telephone, by Zoom, or in person as we go forward. I thank all of you for making these 2 years extraordinary for me as well as an individual. I look forward to being part of the Zoom program with you, our annual meeting. We have extraordinary work going on in preparation for that. And so, is there any further business for this body today?
Just want to say from Anel, thank you for all of your hard work. This is your last board meeting, and I think you've done an excellent, super fantastic job.
Thank you, Annette. Appreciate that. Thanks, Peggy. Yes.
Thank you, Ann.
Thank you, Ann.
Thanks to all of
Indeed.
you. And of course, we'll be working tightly through March 20th and get the new board off to a roaring start. They're already working along and making the transition into very organized and productive work. So I think Paula was going to give us a motion to adjourn. Was that right, Paula?
I can happily do that.
If you could do that.
I am making a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Wait. You
Oh,
had
no.
mentioned asking whether or not I could share the annual meeting agenda. Was there something, some sort of business to be had with that, or did we cover it all?
Chris is, I don't know what Chris was going to present.
Okay.
Do you know? Did
I
she
do
send
not.
anything to you?
No.
Julie, do you know what Chris was going to present?
No, I think really just the agenda, and she sent it out to everyone. I do believe she was seeking input if anyone had anything to say about it, and Sally gave her input, and I agreed with that recommendation that we change it to a presentation and call to action. That's really all I know.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure before we left.
Now,
No, I think that's good.
When you all read what Chris has sent to you, if you have any responses, any recommendations, anything you want to fuss with me about, because the president was assuming that she had the right to set the agenda and tried to work with as many people as possible, making that happen. And Julie has done extraordinary work finding this speaker, and it sounds like it's going to be a great presentation, getting everybody together for this event. We do need a quorum, so don't take the night off. Be there, be there, and be your happy selves fulfilling your mission for the year, and it will be terrific. So thank you for bringing that up, Annelle. And again, what Chris is suggesting, this is important that we hear what she has to say. So be sure to give that attention, but do let me know of any difficulties you have with what I have sent to you and or what Chris has sent to you. We want this to be a really happy, harmonious event, not forces fussing with each other on any issue at all. This is a high level activity. We want our new year to be smooth. So, those
Okay,
in favor,
let's try that again.
which one? All those things in the next year?
Leaving. No. Let's try adjourning the meeting.
We're on track, Paula. We're on track.
Okay.
All right. So to simplify, is there anyone who objects to our adjourning? They're hearing no objections. the meeting is adjourned. Thanks so much, everyone.
All right. See you all Saturday.
You all are wonderful. It's lovely to see you. Thanks for all your work.